The day Superman killed the Joker. What would happen if the most powerful man on the planet lost the only person who kept him human? In an alternate universe, things don't start with an alien invasion or a united Justice League. They start with tragedy. Superman is happy. He has Lois Lane. He has a child on the way. For the first time, Clark Kent allows himself to dream of a normal life. All he wants is to protect them, his family, his world. But someone else has other plans. The Joker, in an act as Machiavellian as it is inhuman, tricks Superman. He drugs him with kryptonite laced with scarecrow toxins. In that delirious state, Superman doesn't see Lois. He sees Doomsday, and he kills her with his bare hands. What he doesn't know is that his heart is connected to a nuclear bomb that destroys Metropolis when it stops. In an instant, Superman loses his wife, his unborn child, and his city. What happens next isn't heroic. It isn't diplomatic. Superman, his eyes blazing and his soul shattered, takes the Joker head-on. He doesn't yell. He doesn't threaten. He just acts. He drives his fist through the Joker's chest. Silence. Behind him, Batman watches. Not with fury, but with horror. Because he knows that in that moment, the symbol has died and something else has been born. The dictator, the god. Superman will no longer save the world. Now he will control it. What if I told you this was only the beginning? Because what Superman did next was far worse. The dark son of Apokolips. What if Superman never landed on Earth and his adoptive father was Darkseid himself? In this alternate reality, the ship carrying baby Kal-El doesn't crash land in Kansas, but on Apokolips, a world of fire and tyranny. There, he isn't raised by the Kents. He's molded by the most ruthless dictator in the universe, Darkseid. And the child who grows up under that yoke learns neither compassion, nor justice, nor humanity. Superman wants to please his adoptive father. He wants to prove his strength, his loyalty. He wants to be the son worthy of a throne, even if he has to claim it with blood. But there's an obstacle. Kalibak, Darkseid's true son. In the eyes of the heir, Superman is an intruder, a usurper. The tension between them grows to a head, and when Darkseid commands, Kal-El obeys without question. Superman kills Kalibak. Not in self-defense, not as a hero. He eliminates him like a cold-blooded executioner serving a sentence. With that act, Kal-El doesn't just demonstrate his strength, he becomes the new prince of Apokolips. But in that moment, the reader is confronted with an uncomfortable truth. Not all Supermen are good. Not all Kryptonian children become symbols of hope. In this universe, Superman didn't save the world, he conquered it. And if you think the worst is over, wait until you see what he did to his former allies in another universe. The day Superman almost killed a Green Lantern. What does a god do when someone questions his authority? Superman has an answer, and it starts with his own hands around your neck. After Lois's death and the destruction of Metropolis, Superman no longer believes in democracy or diplomacy. He decides to take control of the world, to impose peace by force. But not all heroes agree. The Green Lantern Corps, galactic defenders of order, see him as a threat. Salak, a veteran strategist and leading member of the Corps, becomes one of the voices who dares to oppose it. Superman doesn't want more chaos. He doesn't want more tragedy. But above all, he doesn't want to be stopped. When Salak openly challenges his regime, there is no negotiation. There is no warning. Superman grabs him by the throat and begins to choke him. The scene is brutal. A protector of planets reduced to prey. Only the intervention of Gontet, one of the guardians of the universe, saves Salak, shooting Superman and forcing him to retreat. But the message is already clear. Questioning the Man of Steel is playing with death. This wasn't a fight. It was an interrupted execution, and although Salak survived, the real damage was done to the idea of Superman as a symbol of justice, because on that day, the entire universe saw that the protector of Earth had become its greatest threat, and that was just the beginning. In the next story, Superman doesn't even acknowledge his own acts of violence. Pandora's box and the broken mind of the Man of Steel. They say absolute power corrupts absolutely. But what happens when that power mixes with the 7 deadly sins? In the midst of the Trinity War event, Superman and his team investigate the mysterious and legendary artifact known as Pandora's box. This object, linked to the original evil, possesses a corrupting power capable of warping even the purest minds. When Superman opens it, he doesn't unleash demons, but something worse. The 7 deadly sins infect him from within. Superman wants to stop the threat, to control the situation, but inside, he begins to lose his identity. Anger, pride, envy, everything mixes. Everything dominates him. He's no longer himself, but no one realizes it in time. During a mission, Superman intercepts Shazam. Tensions quickly escalate, and Dr. Light tries to calm the situation. But in his altered state, Superman sees him as a threat, without measuring the consequences, without even seeming aware of his actions. He shoots a beam of heat vision directly at his head. Dr. Light dies instantly. There's no trial, no battle, just an accidental murder, committed by the most trusted hero on the planet. When Superman regains lucidity, he doesn't justify himself. He surrenders to Argus. He asks to be locked up, fearing he won't be able to control his strength. This isn't the Superman of smiles. This is the Superman who fears his own existence. And in that moment, we understand that the Man of Steel's worst enemy may be himself. And if you think that was his worst betrayal, wait until you see what he did to his best friend. The day Superman broke the bat. When the 2 pillars of justice clash, only one can remain standing, and Superman chose the most brutal method. The war between Superman and Batman is no longer political. It's no longer philosophical. It's personal. Superman has formed a global regime. Batman leads a hidden resistance. They both believe they're saving the world, but there's no more dialogue. Superman wants no more betrayals, no more sabotage, and in that moment, his only desire is clear: to silence Batman for good. At a secret base of operations, Batman plans a key counterattack to stop Superman, but Superman finds him first. He confronts him mercilessly. He beats him, subdues him, and lifts him up. With both arms, Superman grabs his old friend and, Bane style, snaps his back with a crunch you'll hear on the page. Not for defense, not for justice, for rage, for control, for a power that no longer understands limits or ties. The bat symbol falls, and with it, so does hope for many. Batman survives, but is out of the game, and Superman crosses an irreversible threshold. If he was able to destroy his best friend, who will be safe? But the most terrifying thing wasn't what he did to Batman, to a group of innocent people he couldn't even see coming. The first Superman had no mercy. What if I told you that the original Superman wasn't a symbol of hope, but an explosive, remorseless vigilante? In 1939, in just his second appearance, Superman already showed a very different version of himself than the one we know today. He wasn't diplomatic, he wasn't noble, he was direct, violent, and at times, dangerous. In that issue, Superman decides to stop a weapons manufacturer supplying a hostile foreign government. His motivation? Patriotism, rage, absolute power without regulation. Without warning, without trial, Superman bursts into the factory in broad daylight. He doesn't seek to talk to the workers. He doesn't assess the collateral damage. He simply destroys it. He demolishes walls, machinery, roofs, and blows it up. The scene, for today's readers, is shocking. The planet's most iconic hero committing an act of terrorism with a smile. This Superman didn't need provocation. He didn't wait for permission. He was judge, jury, and executioner. Over the years, his character would soften, transforming him into America's Boy Scout. But originally, Superman was exactly what his name indicated, an unstoppable force, and morally ambiguous. And if you think that was shocking, wait until you see when Superman burned alive one of his most powerful companions. Man of Steel versus Martian Man. When ideals collapse, friends become threats, and Superman begins to eliminate them one by one. Resistance led by Batman grows. Superman no longer trusts anyone outside his regime. The hero who joins the rebellion is Jean Johns, the Martian Manhunter, a being with strength similar to Superman's, but with superior mental abilities. Loyal, wise, and determined to stop the dictatorship the Man of Steel has become. Jean doesn't seek to destroy Superman. He only wants to restore balance, reveal hidden truths, and protect the innocent. Superman doesn't listen to reason, only orders. In a direct confrontation, Jean uses his mental powers to expose the truth, that Wonder Woman has been corrupted, that Superman has crossed the line. Tries to make Clark reconsider, but Wonder Woman reacts violently. Jean responds by engulfing her in telepathic flames. Instant, Superman appears. He doesn't ask. He doesn't hesitate. Fires a direct heat beam that pierces Jean and incinerates him completely. He reduces him to ash, in front of everyone. Martian Manhunter's ashes fall into the sea, a symbol of peace, destroyed by a former ally. Superman shows no remorse, only justification. And the reader understands. The Man of Steel no longer eliminates threats. he eliminates opponents. Not all were as powerful as Jean. Some were just young heroes who trusted Superman too much. The blow that changed a hero forever. Superman loses his sanity. He doesn't just break bones. He also breaks futures. In Infinite Crisis, a new threat emerges. Superboy-Prime, an alternate version of Superman with all his power, none of his empathy. Raised on an idealistic Earth, Prime is trapped in a parallel dimension following the events of Crisis on Infinite Earths. Years of isolation transform him. When he escapes, he's no longer a hopeful young man. He's an unstable, dangerous force. Prime wants to restore his world, his true Earth, but in the process, he becomes a destroyer of all that doesn't fit with his vision, and he brooks no resistance. The hero Risk, a former member of the Teen Titans, faces him in combat. He's brave, but completely out of his depth. Superboy-Prime grabs him with one hand, and without mercy or warning, rips his arm off. Risk's scream echoes across the pages, but Prime doesn't flinch. For him, it was just a message. Risk survives, but he's scarred for life, physically and emotionally. The scene not only demonstrates Prime's boundless power, it shows that this Superman no longer sees people, only obstacles. Every time he acts, he comes closer to becoming the monster he so feared. And the worst part is that some Supermen don't even need a reason to kill. All it takes is one wrong word. Ultraman, the Superman who was born evil. All Supermen came to save the world. Some were born to rule it or to crush it. Alternate universe of Earth 3. Everything is reversed. Heroes are villains, villains are heroes. And there, instead of Superman, there is Ultraman, Kal-El who grew up without compassion, without justice, and without limits. He is the leader of the crime syndicate, evil version of the Justice League. Ultraman seeks only one thing, absolute power. Not interested in protecting, only in controlling. And whoever questions his position is the price. During the events of Forever Evil, the Syndicate celebrates the apparent demise of the real Justice League. In the midst of this, a team member named Monocle makes a fatal mistake. He refers to the group as the Justice League. Ultraman hears him, and without a second's hesitation, incinerates him with his heat vision on the spot. Without warning, without expression, only death. Because for Ultraman, there is no room for confusion or dissent. Monocle dies in seconds. His execution reveals much more than power. It reveals that even among villains, fear of Ultraman is absolute. And it becomes clear to the viewer, this is not a corrupted Superman. This is a Superman who never had goodness in his DNA. What happens when that psychotic power is used, not against an enemy, but against another Batman? Superman Prime and the sun as a weapon. How far does the madness go for a Superman who no longer has a world to return to? In Countdown to Final Crisis, Superman Prime, an extremist version of Kal-El, is tired of imperfect universes. He wanders from reality to reality, searching for the ideal world, one where everything is as he remembers, orderly, heroic, just. But all he finds are distorted versions of what he once loved. Superman Prime just wants to regain control, to reclaim what he believes is his place in the perfect universe. But when he arrives on Earth 15, what he sees enrages him. In this alternate version, Zod is Superman. Jason Todd is Batman. Everything is wrong. Prime, frustrated and out of his mind, slaughters them without mercy. Jason Todd, that universe's Batman, is first strangled, and then, as if death weren't punishment enough, he throws him directly into the sun. The scene is as graphic as it is symbolic. It's not a fight, it's an execution with a clear message. Only I deserve this mantle. Superman Prime doesn't find the peace he seeks, only more worlds that don't fit his vision of perfection. And with each murder, his soul disintegrates a little more. He's no longer a hero. He's a multiversal plague, and in his crusade of madness, there were still old allies left to crush. Some, even, who considered him a brother. When Superman killed the last idealist, sometimes the hardest blow isn't dealt by a villain, but by someone who still believes in you. Superman's regime has divided the world. Some heroes join him out of fear, others out of conviction. But Oliver Queen, the sarcastic archer who never shuts up an injustice, aligns himself with Batman. He still believes Superman wouldn't cross the line. He believes there's still some of the old Clark under that suit. Green Arrow wants to show Superman that he can still redeem himself. There is another way. But Superman, he doesn't listen to reason anymore. He only hears threats. On a clandestine mission inside the Fortress of Solitude, Green Arrow goes undercover to retrieve a key substance. Superman discovers him. Ali confronts him fearlessly with words, but Superman has lost patience. In a burst of rage, he repeatedly punches Oliver to death. A brutal murder of a friend, of a human being, of someone who only wanted to remind him of who he was. In that moment, the last vestige of humanity in Superman is lost, not because he killed an enemy, but because he killed someone who still loved him. From this point on, even his own followers begin to fear him. And as if all this weren't enough, Superman would do the most unthinkable thing: eliminate himself. The day Superman decided to quit being one. What can a god do when he breaks his own code? In Alan Moore's story, Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow, Superman faces one of his last and strangest challenges, Mr. Mxyzptlk, a fifth-dimensional being who has abandoned mischief to embrace pure evil. The chaos he causes isn't physical, it's moral. Mxyzptlk forces Superman to cross a line he swore never to touch. Superman wants to end the suffering. He wants to restore peace. But in his desperate attempt to protect it, he commits the very thing he feared most. He takes a life. During the final confrontation, Superman manages to trap Mxyzptlk between two dimensions, the fifth and the Phantom Zone. The result is devastating. Mxyzptlk dies, torn between two realities. Although the universe is saved, Superman is unforgivable. He broke his code that made him different, the code that made him human. Overwhelmed by guilt, Superman enters a chamber of golden kryptonite. This strips him of his powers forever. The Man of Steel symbolically dies that day. Years later, we see him as Jordan Elliott, an ordinary man, married to Lois Lane, raising their son. He can no longer fly. He no longer saves the world. But for the first time, he lives a peaceful life, because Superman, in the end, sacrificed himself not for the world, but for his soul. And so ends the story of the man everyone believed to be indestructible, not defeated by an enemy, not destroyed by a battle, but broken by the weight of his own conscience. A hero so powerful that he chose to cease being one to remain human.